It was the early hours of January 9th, 2025, when 71-year-old Mama Chris heard a loud noise outside her home in Lagos. Something had fallen near the water tank. Concerned, she stepped outside, climbed up the platform to check, and in a split second, she was falling. The crash echoed through the quiet night as her body hit the ground. The person who pushed her was none other than her own 14-year-old son, Mama Chris. She gave him everything: love, education, a home, and he repaid her by pushing her to her death. It's not an exaggeration. This wasn't some stranger-on-stranger crime. This was a boy who had been raised with love, nurtured from the time he was a baby. Yet, in a shocking twist, he sent his own mother plummeting to her death from their water tank platform. What would make a child turn against the only mother he had ever known? A mother who had loved him, raised him, and given him everything. Let's start from the beginning. Ima had been with his mother since 2011. He was just a year old. She was a retired teacher who rose to the rank of deputy director and provided him with everything a mother would. She had no other children, so of course, she raised him like her own, made sure he was well fed and clothed, and even sent him to a good boarding school in Delta State. Despite this, by the time Ima turned 11, he had started stealing and running away from home for days at a time, wandering the streets, sleeping at classmates' houses, or looking for work in shops. Then, after a few days, he would return home and life would continue as usual. But December 2024 changed everything. Home for the holidays, Ima went to visit a friend, Benga, and that's when Benga casually dropped a bombshell. Ima's mother wasn't his biological mother. She adopted him from an orphanage. And where exactly did Benga get this information? From his own mother, who used to be a student of Mama Chris. Imagine being 14, hearing something like this from a friend, and suddenly you are questioning everything you thought you knew about your life. At first, Ima didn't believe it, but when he confronted his mother, she couldn't give him the answers he wanted. From that moment, everything changed. Ima became withdrawn, avoided his mother, and refused to help with their small cooking gas business. Even on Christmas Day, when he knew there would be customers, he left home, wandering and searching for the truth. When he finally returned, Mama Chris had had enough. She told him, "Since you are looking for your real mother, go and find her." Tensions between them escalated. The once loving mother and son were now in a constant battle. On January 7th, 2025, things took a turn for the worse. That day, his mother was cooking rice when she noticed he had bought garri. She asked how his search was going, and he told her he was still on it. That was it. Maybe she was exhausted from his lack of gratitude. Maybe it was something else, but whatever it was, she finally snapped. Now you know, as a millennial, an African, and raised by a Nigerian mother, that question Mama Chris asked, that was a rhetorical question. You do not answer. You dare not. You keep quiet or at worst, mumble something that sounds like regret. Because if you dare respond with boldness, you might just get sent to meet your ancestors. But these alpha kids, they haven't learned that yet. So when Ima actually answered, "I'm still on it," that was it. To her, it wasn't just an update. It was defiance, disrespect, a slap in the face. And so she kicked him out, told him she was done, that if he was desperate to find his real mother, then he should go and look for her. And he left. He actually walked out. You don't do that to a Nigerian mother. Anyways, this time around, Ima didn't go for long. He returned the next day in the middle of the night after a church program. He came to apologize, to beg for forgiveness for his rude behavior, and for asking about his biological mother. But Mama Chris wasn't having it. She was old, tired, and heartbroken. She had raised him alone for 13 years, and yet this was how he repaid her. She stood firm. No, this time she was really done. So the conversation ended there and she went to bed. But Ima had other plans. Rejected and frustrated, determined to get her attention one last time, Ima made a cruel decision. At around 4 a.m., he climbed up to the water tank platform and knocked the cover off, hoping the noise would make her come outside. And it actually worked. She stepped outside, saw the tank cover on the floor, and looked up in confusion. She climbed the platform, just 3 or 4 steps up, not too high. And when she turned around to look further, he did it. He pushed her. She fell hard, landing head first on the ground. Emma rushed down. Maybe he expected her to scream, to cry out in pain like she had years ago when she broke her leg from a similar fall. But this time, she wasn't moving. Realizing what he had done, Emma panicked. He grabbed her phone and called a neighbor for help. He didn't run, he stayed. The police arrived, and just like that, a 14-year-old boy went from being a son to a suspect. By morning, the woman who had loved him unconditionally was gone. Emma says he never meant to kill her. According to him, it was his friend, Menga, who suggested the idea. And since she had fallen from that same spot before and only broken her leg, he assumed it would be the same, that she'd need him and she'd take him back. But this time around, she didn't just break a bone. She broke her neck and she never got back up. Now here's the question. Was this murder, or was it the reckless act of a confused and misguided child? Some say he was just a lost boy manipulated by his friend, that he acted out of anger and desperation without fully understanding the weight of his actions. Others believe he was old enough to know better. They argue that his lack of remorse is disturbing. Shouldn't he be terrified, broken, crying his eyes out? But instead, he just sits there, emotionless, narrating the horror story. In my opinion, I feel like he truly didn't realize the consequences of his actions. After all, he did call for help. He didn't try to cover it up. He could have run away. There were no witnesses, but he didn't. That tells me he's just a naive child who followed the advice of his friend without realizing the gravity of his actions. And compared to other horrifying crimes committed by teenagers, like the 14-year-old girl who connived with her classmates to kill her employer, stole her belongings and ran away, Emma's case feels different. I will leave the link to that video in the description, or you can just watch it here. To me, Emma's case feels different. He didn't have a getaway plan. He didn't steal anything. He just stood there waiting. I'm not defending him before some people come for my head, but that's just my opinion. I'd love to hear yours. One thing is certain though, Emma's life will never be the same. Now he sits in police custody. No biological parents have come forward. The woman who gave him everything is gone, and the boy who once had a mother now has no one. So what happens next? He's only 14, a minor. I don't know what the Nigerian law does to minors in cases like this. Will he be tried as a child or an adult? Should he be sent to a juvenile center for rehabilitation, or does he deserve harsher punishment? For me though, I truly hope they temper justice with mercy. I mean, he's just a child. This case raises so many concerns. Should adopted children always be told the truth from the beginning, or could Mama Chris have handled his questions differently? And what about Emma? Should he be treated like a child who made a mistake, or as a murderer who took an innocent life? So what do you think? Was this a cold-blooded crime or a horrible accident? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This is a tragic case all in all. One where there are no winners. A mother is gone, a child is lost, and a single conversation altered the course of both lives forever. May the soul of Mama Chris rest in peace. So that's it for this case, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.